Hello and welcome back. Today we have the March 2020 issue of Vogue magazine. And just to remind you, this kicks off the spring and summer season, right? September kicks off fall and winter, and March kicks off spring and summer. So this issue is a half-inch thick, same as the previous fall and winter of 2019. And we can tell in years past this was a full inch thick, and now it's a half inch. So as I've said before, the fashion industry is in trouble. Advertisers are not advertising as they used to. And again, without going too long, right, some big super tangent. I believe a lot of this is due to nepotism. Nepotism is continuing to destroy this industry. So without further ado, let's get into the images on the cover. Billie Eilish. It's a cool image. It looks like they might have actually shot this with a mild green gel. Right, it could be some of the bounce from this coat or whatever she's wearing. Right, it could be reflecting some of the green, or it could be a very weak, very weak green gel, and it's casting this green, a slightly greenish light onto Billie Eilish. But anyways, the image is fantastic. The image just absolutely beautiful. Okay, moving on. The image on the left is kind of troubling. For a long time there's been claims of racism within the fashion industry. And if you can see here on the left, you remember Melania Trump went to Kenya in October of 2018, and she really took a lot of heat because she was in something similar to this. It's a pith helmet, right? It's like what the British wore in India and Africa, right? So it really smacks of colonialism, right? Almost like the white annexation of people of color, right? The white people moved in there and annexed their lands. And so when you see this pith helmet, right, no good can come of this. I don't see how Louis Vuitton could have found this fashionable, because as soon as you look at this, the reference is immediate. You think colonialism. And it's just, what a faux pas. It's even way beyond a faux pas. So, again, just really not making sense. And we'll come back to this. There's another image that's equally upsetting. The image on the right is actually quite nice. I like all the color. Lots of color in there. This image on the left is really beautifully photographed. Black background. They're deviating from a fashion gray. Not using fashion gray, they're using a black. Right, and this is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous photo. On the right, it looks like this might be because I'm a subscriber, this should be the subscriber cover, and this should be the newsstand cover. So perhaps this is, if you were to find this on the newsstand, this is the cover you would encounter. But what's kind of weird is I'll show you a mistake. I don't know if this is a printing mistake or not, but they ran it twice. It's both on heavy cardstock, and you see it here as well. This image has been repeated twice. So I'm really not sure what's going on with that. But this image on the left is beautiful. Clearly Art Deco, reference to the 1930s. It's absolutely gorgeous. This mauve is really working here, right? It's in agreement with the model's clothing. This over here is in agreement with right, this is a drape or something here. And the color it's matching this brass or whatever this is. It looks like a brass, but it's in agreement. So you have agreement here in these two elements. You have agreement here. So there's a lot of agreement in the photo, and it was stylized quite brilliantly. So whoever styled it, did their homework. See, again, this is what I'm talking about, this repetition of the images. Okay, image on the right is quite nice. So we can see Louis Vuitton. As I said before, Louis Vuitton and Gucci were really in a bad way, and Louis Vuitton continues to dig itself out of that hole that it was in for many months. Complete departure. They're really back to their heyday. the equivalent of Gucci. Now there's some political messaging here too. So let's take the image on its surface, okay? It's a throwback image. It looks like it could either be, this is early 70s. These cars, it could be very late 60s or early 70s. It looks like this is an AMC maybe. That looks like an AMC. This is a General Motors product. I don't know what this is. But anyway, so the general setting here, even this old, what does this say? I can't even read that. But it looks like some type of a market or something, the old brick. So thematically, it looks like they're going for late 60s, early 70s, okay? But this is the thing I have a problem with. I spent a lot of years forward deployed, and this is common in the Middle East. You'll see an actual animal take front seat. You'll see a husband driving. An animal will be in the front, and the wife will actually have to take back seat to an animal, a sheep or a goat or whatever. And that's how much women are devalued in that area of the world. So my point is, if you look at this, there are three people, right? Or three entities. Okay, she's driving. You have this animal, it's the pony or something, a little pony or whatever it is, in the passenger seat. So where's the woman going to go? So the woman is going to go obviously in the back seat. And again, we're getting back to these references to the Middle East where women are so devalued they have to take back seat to an animal. So the messaging here is really anti-female, kind of misogynistic, okay? I'm not getting that because the fashion industry is really, sometimes it can be kind of misogynistic if you have, the old school men. But for the most part, they've really come a long way. So I'm not getting this because you can't get any more misogynistic than this. The implication being she has to take backseat to an animal. Okay, now so we got the time frame, we got the misogyny, and let's look at the clothing here. Gucci, this clothing is horrible. Okay, she's wearing sequins. Sequins are not to be worn during the day. It's for evening. It's after 6 p.m. Okay, the bag. None of this is in agreement. You have beige and this like a burgundy, black, and these green socks. Or boots rather. It's just horrible fashion. So this whole image, this image is wrong on so many levels, right? The actual fashion is horrible. The political messaging, the sexual politics, it's all wrong. So I'm just kind of completely at a loss on that one. Okay, here we have another Gucci image. This was Gucci, yeah. So this is another Gucci image. It almost seems like two different people styled this. It seems like there was one stylist for this image and a completely separate stylist for this image because I don't see any misogyny at all here. So this is actually quite beautiful. It's shot on the beach. The woman is embracing the horse. Okay, the fashion is even quite good. This is not a train wreck by any means. So my point is, right, if you look at these two images, right, you have a different fashion editor and you have a different set stylist, right? It seems to me, right, because of the political messaging and the horrible fashion. Turn the page and you would swear that there's a different set stylist who set this up. No misogyny, and even the fashion editor who dressed the model did a much better job than the fashion editor who dressed this model. So I'm thinking there are two different teams. There's one team that handled this image, and there's a completely different team that handled this image. That's you know what I'm saying? I'm not Columbo, but it just seems that way. So this is really quite nice. Celine, okay, Celine has been running some really bad images over these last few months. This one here, so Celine, Edi Slimane is a very thin man, and his whole thing is almost kind of like androgyny. He wants thin models, and he wants them almost asexual, right? So when you look at the model, for years, you really couldn't tell if it was a woman or a man. He liked that. He liked super thin models and almost asexual or androgynous. So we get to this image, and this is a departure for Edi Slimane because clearly she's quite an attractive woman where there's no androgyny. Clearly she's a woman, an attractive woman at that. So it seems like Slimane is kind of changing things up at Celine, and it's actually quite welcome. So this I can do without on the left, but this is actually quite a nice photograph. And the same here. So she's very thin, right? Almost to the point, you know, you can almost, right? That's too thin. It's not attractive, right? She's all bone, has no shape, has no curves. So to me, that is very unattractive. I'm just going to tell it like it is, right? I don't find that attractive. But over here, facially, right? She's wearing almost like some bangs. Kind of has a Taylor Swift look. Facially, she resembles Taylor Swift, right? She's quite attractive, right? And the image is just working. Nice image. Here we're getting back to this blur that's been popular now for about a year or so. It's not working. It's actually quite dreadful. But this is cool. I noticed a trend here in the bags. They're actually stamping the leather. So they're making a template. Almost kind of like in the tool and die industry, right? So this isn't done by hand, I would think not. It's too time consuming. So they have like a press, like when you press auto parts, like, right? So this is kind of the same thing. They're putting these big sheets of leather in there, right? A sheet of leather in a press. The press comes down and it's stamping out these holes to really save on labor costs. But it's really producing quite a nice pattern, and we'll see this in future shots. So this is a new trend in the bag industry. We're getting back to these, you know, a press coming down and pressing out some designs in the leather. That's fairly new. Here, more blur, Hermes. So we've been seeing this from Hermes for quite some time, over a year, where they have these kerchiefs or something like that. I don't know what you would want to call them, but there's some type of a square material. And they're doing some type of play like this, almost like some type of movement. But here they've slowed the shutter, and you can see the blur. And they didn't do this in the past, but they're doing it now. Again, this blur is so dreadful. This is so topical. This is today. And I know a lot of the fashion industry is exactly that. They want to capture the today. They don't want to capture the timelessness, right? Because fashion is about today, and we know the trends are going to change next season and the season after that. But I still have a problem with this, because photography really upscale. Like if you look at editors in the past, like Diana Vreeland and I think Carmel Snow and some of the other editors, they didn't engage, to me, in the topical. It was always the timeless. Okay, the stuff that, like Cary Grant, I say this a million times. If you ever watch North by Northwest, you look at Cary Grant's suit. It was in style. I think that movie was shot in '59. That same suit has never gone out of style since '59. I've watched it in every decade since the movie was made. That suit has never gone out of style, ever. And that's what I mean about photography. Fashion photography should be that. It should be things that never go out of style. And that's my rant. This is actually quite cool. This is almost gladiatorial. This would be something you see in ancient Rome, right? This is actually all leather. This is like almost like a beautiful calf skin. It's really blemish free, right? And you have this white stitching. You have the darts here for the tailoring, and you have these pleats, and it's really this. All this is gladiatorial, and it's just awesome, absolutely gorgeous. So, and the photography is good. So not only is the fashion good, the photography is good. Hermes. Prada, this woman on the left, just, a little bit of Frida Kahlo. She's kind of channeling Frida Kahlo there a little bit. Let me watch my time. I'm going to cut this at 15 and break this into a multi-part segment. Dolce & Gabbana, staying on. So this is quite a few years in a row. Now they toned this down for the winter. They really went deeply conservative for the winter. Now they're back. This is the first issue, spring and summer, and pow! They're back with these really, really brilliant floral patterns, right? Even this isn't floral, it's solid green, but it's like a satin or something, very reflective, throwing off all kinds of light. And this is just gorgeous. Man, holy mackerel, look at those designs. Pow. Okay. Beautiful, still Dolce & Gabbana. Black and white photo, gorgeous. Just a beautiful photo. Okay, look, this is going to be the last image. So, we're going to see this a lot more. This is Ralph Lauren, and this kind of troubles me because this is actually toned down. You're going to see this, you're going to see more of this in other magazines. But Ralph Lauren, it seems like almost Ralph Lauren is, to me, again, now, I'm not Columbo and I'm not, a fortune teller. But I think Ralph Lauren is starting to sense his own mortality. And he's trying to leave us his legacy, his self-perceived legacy, how he perceives himself. And it's really not working. Again, this is very toned down. I'll show you more in the future. But he's got all kinds of craziness going on in these images. And this is not representative of Ralph Lauren. So again, I think he's sensing his own mortality. He's trying to relay his legacy, what he feels is his legacy. And it's kind of James Bond-esque. It's almost where he sees himself as like some type of an agent or something. And it's really outlandish. So it's kind of sad that Ralph Lauren is aging, and he's leaving us this legacy of himself as James Bond. And it's just I just can't buy into it. And it's sad really that's what he's trying to portray himself as he approaches maybe the final stages of his life. But anyways, I'm going long here. I'm going to cut it here, and I will continue with part 2. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Please give me an upvote. It would be very much appreciated. Thank you.